Hello there, and welcome to the Kirk Minahan wrap-up show. Today was January 25th, 2021. The show's title name was Shaken, after the New York Times writer and how he was just horrified when he took his cross-country trip, seeing everyone break COVID rules and just no disregard for other people, and he was shaken to the core. So I am joined today by special guest, S.E. Robinson. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Justin. I appreciate it.
And I'm also joined by R.A. Minahan. What's happening, guys?
Justin, how are you?
Doing fantastic. So let's just get right to it. I mean, the show started off. I mean, for the first 30 minutes, it was the Sporty R. McKenzie show. It was different than any Kirk you've heard in the past 2 years. Steve, I'd like to get your take on. I mean, we all know you're not a huge sports guy.
So, I was fucking useless. I just sat back and watched and pushed the buttons. But I mean, that's most of the time it's about producing the show is just about getting out of Kirk's way.
Mm-hmm. All right, how did you like the?
I liked it. It reminded me of on EEI. They had Rob Bradford in once, and Kirk went into full Sporty R. McKenzie mode, and they had like an MLS reporter on. They had like a reporter from, I think it was like the Columbus Blue Jackets minor league team. Like they went all out. And it's too bad that he kind of lost steam before Steve could get the writer on. Because I think that would have been a pretty interesting interview because he was just, bleeding.
Well, Aaron Rodgers fucked that one up for us. If he wasn't out there giving his little crying statement, we'd have been able to get, I forget what her name is, HK or something. Yeah. She was actually pretty bummed that we didn't end up taking her up on the offer because she's just like a local news reporter, and I'm sure she was a fan of Barstool. It would have been fun to have her on. Maybe, I should say maybe another time because we're never going to talk to her again.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, you can pass it along that she's welcome on the wrap-up show.
You think so? All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, she might take you up on that.
Awesome. So I don't know. I find it funny whenever Kirk talks sports because he does it in a way in which he knows what he's talking about, but yet he just goes overboard.
It's effortless. Like he can just like that. He can just snap right into it. Well, it's like his muscle memory.
One of my favorite segments from Enough About Me is when he was talking to, I think it was some football reporter. And just went
who was it?
Total.
Yeah, it was the NFL. Was the NFL Network guy? I forget what his name is. But I remember that one too. Where he did. He did like a full 15 minutes as a sports hardo, and the guy at some point is just like, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I love Sporty Kirk. I don't listen to any sports talk radio anymore, but I do.
Well, that was also just a huge middle finger to Entercom, though, because Entercom is pushing him to stick to sports. He's like, "All right, you want sports? Here's sports."
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I like the beginning of today's show, and it just kept giving. Like he started off with that. Then I believe the next thing that was touched on was kind of like Larry King, R.I.P. Larry King. I don't have much to say about Larry King. I didn't grow up with Larry King. I always knew him as the old guy who had like 28 wives and
kind of like a kids.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's accurate. That's like what I said on the show is, most younger people like your age, Justin, probably just remember him from movies. Because he's like, if there's some dynamic in a movie where they need to do a TV interview, Larry King was, your go-to guy for a very, very long time. But I actually never listened to him on overnight radio either. It might be interesting to go back and find some of those tapes and see what he was talking about. Actually, I did see a little bit of Larry King recently because for the secret project, I'm going through some home videos. So I've been watching some videotapes, like recorded television from 2004, watching the Iraq War, the Cosby Show, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it was funny when you guys played a couple of those clips today from Larry King when he's asking about like the food and stuff like that. I think he would have been quote unquote canceled if he had a like rape survivor on.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not like he was doing anything outrageous. He was just kind of asking really bad questions. That's all.
Yeah, but
I think his entire style was asking really short questions to try and provoke an interesting answer. Whereas these days, most people on like CNN or MSNBC, their question's going to have like a 3-part introduction, and a lot of it's about them grandstanding.
Yeah, and it has the answer in the question.
So
I mean the Larry King thing was fine. Like I said, I mean I'm sure it meant a lot more to people probably in their 50s and older because they were just kind of his generation where you would get the news. But that didn't hit on me too much. I wanted to hit on real quick though. It was only mentioned for about 40 seconds, but I would like to say that the hashtag Book Kirk that I proposed on Friday, it worked. We had everyone. When I say everyone, we probably had about 5 people tweet at Jeff D. Lowe saying "Book Kirk" for the next.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. You led the Minifans in an unforgettable battle to get us on the trivia show.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not trying to say like it's all me, but a lot.
Are you asking? Is this going to be part of you asking for a raise?
No, that part comes
later
good. On when I.
You're already making more money than Blind Mike did, so.
Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Yeah.
Well, we're gonna talk about your fucking disgusting milk barf.
We'll get there.
I come home and then I cut up the show when we do those late night tapings, and I sat there going back and forth between. I was either gonna call it the GOAT for his rant about Tom Brady and the Patriots, shaken, or milk barf.
Yeah,
I probably should.
The audio was so much worse than the video. Just the audio isolated.
I don't think so. I think the video.
Really?
It's just
I've seen the video 100 times
coming out of his mouth. So that's
I don't
know.
It was like a fire hydrant. Like it was. You must have puked up most of the milk.
I don't know if you listened. I don't know if you listened, Justin, to the podcast itself, or if you just listened to the video from the Dropbox folder. But the your barf sound. Are you drinking milk right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. I'm not really drinking milk.
Dude, you're drinking you're taking shots around a guy who's like on his 1-day chip right now. So
maybe you should have a stronger stomach. I don't have to tell you.
Oh really? Let's see you do that.
I'm also smarter than that.
Steve, I think where you were getting to is I did watch. So I listened to it and then I watch it, and there is a clip going up on the Twitter tonight of Mike. Mike cringed more than I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, he did.
I haven't seen his reaction yet.
He's his reaction to things is very physical. Whether it's like if there's any cringeworthy thing, he just like wriggles in his seat. But what I was saying is your barf sound is now a part of the outro, along with the death of Tig.
Oh, I didn't.
I did pick up on that today.
Oh, lovely.
That was a nice touch.
Lovely, making my mark in the Kirk Minahan world. It's funny. My dad texted me this morning or Sunday morning.
I'm sure he was proud.
He said, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Oh, I threw up some milk."
Very proud parent.
What the fuck is? Because one of his buddies at work texted him about it, and he was like, "Did you throw up blood at the end there?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit."
Yeah.
So that's where you guys kind of had a misconception, because I think Kirk said he would probably just, or maybe it was you, just leave it in the bucket and leave it there. So if you watch a little bit further, I was so quote unquote milk drunk that I took the bucket and instead of pouring it in the toilet like a normal man, I poured it in the sink, which clogged up the sink instantly. So then I had to scoop it out with cups, pour it in the toilet.
You clogged the sink with milk?
There was like some.
I'm sure there's other stuff in there. Yeah.
And also, people don't realize that milk like curls inside your stomach. So like,
we realize.
Yeah, I saw that.
We realize that when acid meets milk. That's
it was
disgusting.
It was.
You're doing the Trudell family name proud.
That's funny. That's like someone that your dad works with had to tell him. Like that's gonna be a low point in that guy's life.
Yeah, his chief was like, "Hey, so I saw your son." Yeah, that's interesting.
It's good water cooler talk.
No, I mean,
did you learn any lessons about not allowing yourself to be peer pressured into doing stupid shit?
I actually asked them to do it because they said they were gonna have. They wanted to find someone. I was like, hey, I'll do it. My redemption arc for that show is now complete. 2 weeks ago, I shut them off, and now
I'd say so.
The most talked about show on Twitter. So
did you feel like you were gonna puke the whole time? Because it looked like as they were counting down from like 20, you started to lose it. And all I can think of is like, if like you really, really have to pee, and like the closer you get to a toilet, the worse it gets, and something like that. I mean, I've never drank a gallon of milk in one sitting. So
I actually did this. I did this when I was like 15 or 16. A bunch of us did it. My friends growing up in Dexter, but I think we actually did a half gallon. And it's still.
I've definitely heard of it before. Like you said on the show, like it's something like in high school you would hear about.
Yeah, it's
not when you're like 25 or whatever.
Mike and I were actually talking about. Do you remember the We for We challenge that radio station did somewhere out west?
Yes,
where
the woman died.
Yeah. She drank a gallon of water and fucking died. You're lucky, Justin.
So the reason why she died, I believe, was that she wasn't allowed to pee for a certain amount of time.
Ooh.
And so
okay.
her body just fucked. Like if I wasn't allowed, if I like duct tape my mouth shut, yeah, I'd be dead because that was coming out.
That would cut out your nose.
I will say, upon reflection and watching that video, it looks like a cartoon. Have you ever seen the Family Guy puke?
Yeah. Oh yeah, when they take like the Ipecac or whatever.
Yeah.
I will say though that I think of all the things that you can puke up, milk is probably the most benign. You know, it's not like if you're puking up beer or hard liquor or something that, and you get a little bit on your nose, it's just fucking sting and be gross. So
it was fucking.
I think that Tim Ridgels' reaction was the best. It wasn't so much that the 2021 thing, but he was like, "Oh, like those they kill me every single time." I've seen this video, I swear, like 100 times. Like it's the funniest thing I've seen in months.
Seared into all of our memories.
Oh yeah, you're not. I'm not getting that. It was like a fire hydrant. It was like a fire hydrant, just a steady stream of just white.
And I saw the video, and obviously I turned to the camera at one point, like in between.
That was creepy. So fucking creepy.
I have no remembrance of that. I mean, that was probably like if you go back and like it's like in my DNA and my instincts, like looking out for help, like being like, please, someone help me, please.
It was the only video that was more cringeworthy than that was Liz Gonzalez.
Oh yeah. So we'll hit on her because hers was just, I don't know if her like goal with this was to get views, but it's like no one's taking her side in this. So I know she had the Yankees Red Sox video a couple of years ago where she's like, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll have 27 championships. I won't have to live in the shithole Boston, blah, 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 blah. She's like, fuck Boston. That was like, that kind of went viral. And that's kind of like a meme in the Barstool universe. But this one was just like, I don't know if she's faking,
I
couldn't tell if she was serious or not. It was so cringy.
Oh, she was serious. No, she was serious. I think. Why does anybody post anything like that online? They just want attention, and so you know what? Congratulations, she successfully got herself some attention. Yeah, it's just weird. Like
the Yankees.
I thought maybe she was like she feels like because she works at Barstool, she has to project this image that she's hyper invested in, athletic competition and the outcomes. But I don't know.
I know.
I'm glad we caught it in time. I'm glad we caught it in time to include it in today's show.
Yeah, I was
because when she did, I remember the Red Sox one, but I can see someone doing that, just like being super pissed off at losing to your team's rival. Like I can just going off on a rant. Like that's way more realistic and more believable than crying because your quarterback said he might think about retiring.
Yeah, I think
that's actually just very odd.
I think that's actually how Mincy, one of the newest hires at Barstool, got his job. There was some video went out of him jumping up and down, after some football game or during some football game, and Dave hired him on the spot.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I could see being like happy and celebrating. The last time I cried over a football game was, I think it was Super Bowl 42 when I was in 5th grade. So take with that what you will. It was when the Patriots lost to the Giants in the undefeated season, but never did I ever think of, when Brady leaving, making a video being like legitimate tears. I understand being upset, but yeah, I don't know if you heard too, there is a point in today's show where Kirk asked K. Marco, like, do you think this should be enough to have her leave Barstool? And he says, yeah. So, I mean, there might be a promo coming out later tonight that might rustle some jimmies. But yeah, so the Liz Gonzalez stuff was weird. The New York Times article, I mean, I love it. I love hypocrisy in the media. It's just so straight. It's never going to end. Like, I mean, we're past the point where journalists are going to be held accountable. Journalists think they're, superheroes. This man pretty much thought he risked his life by driving across the country and seeing.
Yeah, well, I mean, he thinks he's smarter and better and elite than the rubes in middle country who don't know enough to wear masks. I mean, I tend to believe some of the things he said in there. Like, I'm sure he saw a couple drinking beer at a hotel or something, or he went into a convenience store and there weren't masks. I've seen that stuff too. Like when we're traveling through South Carolina, North Carolina, like there are some people who just don't give a fuck and they're not wearing masks, but South Carolina's COVID rates are a lot lower than Massachusetts. So, who's doing it right?
And
they're not having nervous breakdowns.
The overreaction is just what gets to me when it's just like, oh, it was terrible. It's like, dude, you're a journalist. You write every day.
Yeah, you can't look like a martyr almost. But I did like the back and forth between Kirk and Mike. It reminded me of like the Steve My Good Man back when Cullinane was leaving. It had like a feel to that, which was kind of nice to hear. You know, them going back and forth off each other. You know, like that. I mean, the article itself was horseshit.
Yeah, I think so far the dynamic with having Mike back has worked out well. Mike seems like he's in a really good place, and I think that the show benefits from it, where he's not like, you know, so anxious all the time. He can just come in and have a good time.
Yeah, once a week seems to be doing well for him. I mean, definitely content-wise, you know, he seems more relaxed. Seems, you know, able to joke more.
Making tons of money in the stock market, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still think someone needs to set up one of those dummy investment accounts where you don't actually buy the stocks. You just like you can simulate it and buy all the stocks that he recommends on.
See what happens.
Yeah, just see what happens. The Blind Mike Investment Trust or something.
Yeah, you know what? I'll do that.
Love to see how that turns out.
And everything. But if Mike can only, you know, learn to not say that his content is shit.
I know. A lot of self-deprecation,
and encourage people to subscribe. As we're speaking here, RA, I don't know if you're subscribed, but Steve, you are now a gearhead to $5.
I am, yes. I'm a gearhead. I canceled my Netflix and signed up for Blind Mike's Patreon. So
that's awesome. So I'm sure he really appreciates that. Another big thing from today, so the Patreon songs, the one about Jared was good. Other ones, you know, weren't so hot. The Blind Mike rap on, it was whatever. But I have a question for you, Steve. Do you think you should have held on to the Jared parody song until Jared was there on Friday? Or do you want to kind of just get...
I mean, I thought about it, but it was less about the song and more about, you know, the all-out war that's been declared on the Steve's a Liar guy. I mean, he is the GOAT of Minahan parody songs. I know Matt Carano has been taking a little vacation from doing parody songs, and I think the Steve's a Liar guy's he's busy. I think he's back to whatever his job is, so he doesn't have as much time to devote to parody songs as he did, you know, last year. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room for people to step up. But the thing is, you know, every once in a while I have to play some of those bad songs because, first of all, I don't have any musical ear whatsoever to know whether something's good or not. But then you go get people like Ziggy Robinson bitching in your email, like, "Oh, you didn't play my song."
Well, what I wanted to bring up was we're talking about parody songs. I'm sorry, I just get lost. Talking about parody songs. Yeah, Steve's a Liar guy. I mean, Matt Carano seems to be the kind of person who, anytime there's an event, he'll put out a song. VFW, he'll write a song for it.
Yeah.
Taco, he'll write a song for it. But he just hasn't been. There's been no like bang. Like we're on the 1 year. Rape is over 1 year old now, and
he's in a drought. I can't think of another one since then that he's done. That's been.
Yeah, the VFW show, his song got spiked. And in his defense, he is helping us out with an aspect of the secret project. So
okay, but I think all this slander against Steve's a Liar guy is totally unwarranted. These people are jealous of him. I think
he's the greatest of all time.
They don't like that he's anonymous. I think that's the biggest thing.
See, that's a huge power move on his part, though.
I completely.
That's
agree.
Also probably smart. That's a good move.
You can't really come at him because there's no target. You know, you can't go find him on Twitter and troll him. For all I know, he's like, you know, Kirk's underwear stain or something like that on Twitter on the brother account. But to my knowledge, I don't think he has any social media.
Yeah. So speaking of social media, big announcement today from Kirk.
Yes, the Wilbur Show officially moved to January 22nd. You know, this is, I think, the first time where Kirk and I are both reasonably confident that it's not going to have to be moved again. But this is, I mean, I think the fifth time that we've had to move the show. So I will say, back in last February, called it. People don't talk enough about how right I was about all the pandemic stuff.
Hashtag Steve was right. Let's get it going. But this is like you. This is the first time where I think, okay, either this happens or it's never going to happen. I
don't know how much. I'm assuming they can keep putting it off, but I mean, I don't know. It's a year and a half. I wonder if people, because I've seen some parody accounts just now. Early Kirk Min retired and just gave up his tickets just this afternoon. So I wonder how many people are just gonna be like, fuck it, like it's been so long and just not have the patience for it.
I also think
I don't know. I think the more pressing concern for me is the Wilbur going to be in business?
Yeah,
think about how much revenue that theater's lost by just not having any events whatsoever. So, we're still communicating with their staff, and they seem to be, booking stuff for November and December. So I'm sure that they'll probably try and do something around vaccines. Like, if you have your vaccine passport or proof that you got the vaccine, you'll be allowed in. I really don't know. They haven't communicated anything like that to us.
I think it's going to be interesting just to see, because when the tickets were sold, it was kind of right when Kirk was just hitting his stride, where it was right after Madawaska, right after the Super Bowl. And I think there's some fans who either they started listening around the Super Bowl or they started listening after Madawaska, who probably weren't ready to drop like $50 on a live show, and they're probably fully invested now. And I think it'll be interesting just to see like this is going to be like an OG Kirk Minahan show experience. I don't think there's going to be too many new faces, which is
for sure. And I don't think we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with Madawaska, but Madawaska 2 will definitely happen. Yeah, we just need to figure out what we're going to do. And now that we've got the Wilbur show in the books, it makes it a little bit easier to plan around that. So if I had to guess, I would say it'll probably be like, Wilbur show, couple of weeks, Madawaska.
Oh, so you think no matter
maybe a month, maybe a month, like late February, early March, unless Kirk has talked about doing it not in the dead of winter, but I also know that kind of provides some of the charm.
I think they'll take away from it. Like, I don't want to drive through nice weather really to get up there.
Oh yeah,
that was half the experience.
We need 22 inches of snow and a couple of fatalities along the way.
Yeah, that is part of the charm.
And it was, I don't know, maybe Jared will get into some shenanigans up in Madawaska. Wouldn't that be something? So is Friendlies, so I don't know. See, I'm wearing my Triple Me this shirt in case anyone wants.
Mine just came today, so I'm very conflicted.
So, shout out to Harrison. He does an incredible job.
He does.
You still have the sticker on it.
I do?
You do.
Oh, look at that.
I was going to ask that. I was like, why do you need the sticker on his shirt?
See, Steve, now here's where I ask you for the raise. No, but
consummate professional.
But Friendlies just seems to keep fucking up and fucking up and fucking up and fucking up. I don't know. I know Jared's super invested in it, but these emails they're sending, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna try." It just sounds like you're trying to be the cool dad. Like, "Hey, I'll give you guys a beer." Like my wife, she's a real,
So originally, I thought that there was a chance that this guy actually listened to the show, because if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Jared came in and he was like, "Hey, you're never going to believe who's following me on Instagram. It's Friendly." So obviously someone's listening to the show, because we hadn't tweeted out any promos of them talking about Friendlies or anything. So it's not like they were just scraping Twitter for mentions and saw it. And then when I got the email from the communications director, whoever she is, I was like, all right, well, maybe like she doesn't listen to the show and she was just like told to reach out or something. But then I got that email from Craig and I'm like, buddy, if you listen to this show, if you listen to like 3 or 4 episodes of the show, you would know that none of this is going to fly.
Yeah, not to do that. The email that he wrote sounded. Kirk used to talk about how like Sam Kennedy and like Tom Werner used to be like, "Oh yeah, like we're in on the joke." Like, So it kind of gave off that kind of vibe. Like, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm one of the cool guys." Like, I get it. So I don't know. I'm getting bad vibes from this guy.
I feel like probably the person who runs social media probably knows more about Barstool and.
It's probably a young person.
And it's and they just brought it up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sure Craig has heard of Kirk Minahan before, but there's a difference between hearing of him and listening to him." It's just
knowing how he'll react to things.
I don't know. I just find it hilarious that he pretty much wanted like free promotion and everything like that. And it's like, okay, there is a difference between a private business and the VFW going under, or the Barstool Fund or something like that. It's like Friendlies. It's not like. I guess you could consider it like a quote unquote local place, but it is $1 million corporation.
So, yeah, but I don't know how much money they've got to slosh around, especially in the middle of a pandemic on advertising. But
I know they got $60 the other week. So
I do not believe that we'll be going to a Friendlies near you for a live show in the future, but we are going to be doing a live show at a Dunkin' Donuts sometime in the future.
Oh, really?
Because
Really?
yeah, Dale, the winner of the Minifan Golden Ticket, has decided that for his home show, rather than having it taped at his house in his living room like we did with that Brendan guy down on the Cape, he wants to do it at one of Greg Sagras's Dunkin' Donuts locations. Greg was one of the guys who won. He won a chance for the VFW show, but he also donated a shit ton.
6,000.
I think he was the top. Yeah, he was the top. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he won 2 tickets to the VFW show, but he was the top donor to the Barstool Fund. So I guess it's nice. I suppose Dale can invite whoever he wants to come in and watch that show. So I actually think that'll be a better setup too, to have a Dunkin' Donuts all to ourselves. And who knows, maybe it opens the door to Kirk Minahan running on Dunkin'.
Yeah. Oh, let's hope so. That'd be a big get.
Speaking of advertisers, why haven't you sold any advertisers for the wrap-up show?
So I was accused because I put this out on an audio stream, and so the audio feed I use on it's called Red Circle, and so they it's free and it's great and everything like that. But at the bottom of the description, it's like, do you want to support this? Donate here, and I can't get rid of it. And someone was like, Justin's making a shit ton of money on the wrap-up show. And I was like, I can show you I have $0.0 in that account. If someone sent me money, I would send it back. But no, I'm open to it. I'll start searching around for some advertisers. I've been
if Blind Mike could get some advertising, I don't see any reason why you can't.
Yeah, of course,
it all goes to Kirk, and you don't get a commission. But
I would assume it would go towards like
10 cents on the dollars on
something like that. But I'll get working on that. But it's to say Blind Mike's got some advertising. I've been searching for, and we've gotten a couple of yeses, and then they don't talk to us for like 3 weeks. So
advertising on his Patreon?
No, for his free episode.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the Carroll Center where he went should be advertising on his podcast, right?
They really should be. Yeah,
they should be proud of their graduate.
Yep. I don't know. Mike from today's show, it sounds like he's too big for the Carroll Center. If Jared found his gift card a couple days ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't need that." So apparently,
it all gets back to what Kingpin Pete said. The guy's rolling around in money.
He's loaded with
he's made so much money on Bitcoin and the stock market that he doesn't. It's not worth his time to pick up that $25 gift card to the blind store.
Yeah, to the blind store. He can't even
what
go
else?
there.
What else do you call it?
And donate it to next person who buys something, have them use this. But nope, it's not Mike's style. But anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for today's show. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Nope, I don't think so. I think we got Wednesday's show might be with Stephen Hayden. I'm not sure about that yet.
Okay.
Because I know Kirk's been wanting to talk to him about the Eagles episode that he did. And then we'll have Jared for Friday's episode and trivia on Monday night.
How are you liking the Steve Kirk shows now that there's? I know for a while it was just you and him.
Oh, people just hate them.
They are not well.
Fine. It doesn't. Doing the show is the same pretty much no matter who's there, whether it's just Kirk and I or if Jared's there, Mike's there. But I do like the mixing it up with like Ryan Whitney from Spit and Chicklets. Like that's fun. Like I like the variety of bringing other people in. That can be fun sometimes. And Jared's been great to have in too. I like Jared a lot.
And I'm sure you enjoyed the Bagger Carcass show last week. So without
there was no honor in that victory.
So with that being said, do you know if Kirk's planning some special show? Because I know the week before that he had the top 20 show, then he had the Bagger Carcass show. You think this was just going to be more of like an interviews based?
I don't know. It's probably not for me to reveal if that was the case.
I like it. So make sure to listen to that on Wednesday. I'll be here with Tim and Canton. He's got a couple of weeks to catch up on this week in Kirk Minahan show history. Anything else, boys, before we say goodbye?
No, awesome. I'm good.
Well, thank you, Steve, so much for joining me. Thank you,
thanks for having me.
Justin, thank you.
I will talk to you guys on Wednesday.